you mentioned that how getting into pornography can influence your sexual orientation. What do you mean by that?
It can change your sexual orientation. It can influence it. I noticed that, in myself, I noticed that when I was watching porn, and this is something I've actually heard across the board from a lot of heterosexual women, is they say that when they watch porn, they're masturbating to the women and not to the men.
Oh.
And same with me. Like it was always like the sight of women that aroused me. And I think most porn is kind of like shot from like the idea of what would turn a man on. And I think that when I was watching porn, it put me in the mindset of a man, and it caused me to like sexualize women. And I noticed that I was dealing with really lustful thoughts towards women. And then when I overcame the porn addiction within about a year of being off of porn, those sexual thoughts towards women completely went away. And I literally do not experience lust towards women anymore.
Yeah.
And I've heard this in a lot of the men I've coached as well, that they get into porn. I don't know if you've ever heard of sissy porn. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I have not. Not sissy. I heard of sissies, but not sissy porn.
So sissy porn is this like genre, I guess, where a woman is kind of emasculating a man and he's getting off on it. He's like getting aroused by it. So
Right.
she'll like basically, I guess, like dominatrix kind of stuff,
Oh,
where
okay.
like the woman is like dominating him.
Right.
And in some cases, and so like the men, they start to associate their sexual arousal with being dominated. And then eventually some of these women that they're watching will start encouraging them to do things like, oh, it'll really turn me on if you, I don't know how graphic I can be right now, but like.
How graphic can you be? Be yourself.
Okay. Like sometimes, like I heard from some of my clients that like there's someone I had who said that the woman was telling him, oh, it's going to turn me on so much if you suck a and he went out and did it.
Whoa.
And now he's like, he said that now he almost can't be turned on unless he's going down on a man. And now it's like he feels gay, but at first he wasn't gay. He was straight. And then, but just through watching so much of this porn,
Yeah.
it kind of influenced his sexual orientation.
You know, over the years, I've heard of this before from men,
Mm-hmm.
and that they get so deeply into sex and pornography and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
until eventually they are attracted to men as well.
Yes. And I think, yeah.
and it just shows the darkness of sex and how deep. The more you go into hell, how deep you can go. You know, the more deeper you can go into it. So I have heard it. I didn't know it meant sexual orientation, but I've heard of that before over the years.
I think, honestly, that porn is a total intentional weapon against humanity that's like being used to like, I think that well, first of all, porn's free. Like you can watch, it's insane to me that you can watch whatever you want at the click of a button. Like if you have the internet, like literally you can see crazy stuff, like anything. And I think that, you know, the way it works is that when you first watch it, you might start out watching like very mild things.
Right.
Like, but over time, you're going to need more extreme things to get the same level of arousal. And then before you know it, yeah, like your sexuality is different. Like you're starting to only get turned on by, watching gay porn. Or I think this is how pedophiles are created, because I think that eventually there's people out there who maybe they've seen all the porn there is to see, and now there's only one thing left to give them that same rush. I think that porn is almost like a tool being used to create pedophiles, to normalize pedophilia, and to completely separate the act of sex from pregnancy and everything. I think like it's totally a weapon against humanity. What do you
believe is the aim of the pornography industry?
I think it's to destroy families, destroy people, and keep people away from God, number one.
Yeah.
But also to totally pervert the meaning of sex. Like it's almost insane to me to think before, now I can't even believe that I used to ever get scared about being pregnant, because it's like how could I be like, that's what sex is supposed to do. Because I remember growing up in college, like, people would say if they got pregnant, that means something went wrong. But it's like, no, that means sex worked how it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
like that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting pregnant, that means sex went wrong, And so I think when you're watching porn, it kind of trains you to detach pregnancy from sex, because honestly, when you're watching porn, there's so many things where like the man will be ejaculating on a woman's face or on her other parts of her body. And you're watching the semen go everywhere except for where it's supposed to be intended to go.
Yeah.
And it kind of and honestly, I think it's to destroy families, to keep people away from God, to promote depopulation, and to just, I guess, weaken the masses so that we're in a constant state of acting on impulse and acting on instant gratification, so that we're always, we're more controllable that way. Like you're more easily controlled because porn really trains you to act on your impulses. And when you are training yourself to act on impulse, it's going to leak out into every other area of your life. You're going to be acting on impulse with everything. I noticed I was a much angrier person when I was watching porn too. And I think it's intended to kind of keep people in this state of reactivity, this state of weakness and lack of control over themselves, so that they make stupid decisions.
So do you think the industry itself is aware of all that, the depths of what they're doing, or are they doing it to primarily make money? Because when people are hooked on it, they make money, right? And so do you think they understand all that, or are they in it for the money only?
That's such an interesting question. I think that there's definitely people who are just in it for the money. They don't know they don't know the full weight of what they're doing. But I think that it's almost like a possession. It's almost like they're being possessed by a spirit that is causing them to do these things that maybe consciously they're not aware of what's happening, but they're definitely being possessed by something.
Yeah.
I even remember when I was watching porn, it would feel like I was being possessed by something.
Absolutely.
Like I remember almost feeling like I was in a trance when I was watching it. And then, it's very common to hear when people talk about how right after they have that orgasm, all of a sudden they're disgusted by what they see on the screen and they want to turn it off. They want to put it away. They have that immediate ugh feeling. And so it's like, okay, was it really you that was watching it and getting off to it? Or was it like you were possessed,
Absolutely. And so when you talk to people, coach with people about being addicted to it, do you think that do you believe they are physically addicted or spiritually addicted in darkness? Is it a spiritual addiction or physical?
I think it's both, but I think it honestly relates so much to what you talk about with having resentment towards the mother.
Yeah.
I think that is such a key element in porn addiction, because what I've noticed is that a lot of the men I talk to who are addicted to porn, they feel very emasculated in their lives. Yeah. They feel very beaten down by the women in their lives. And so I almost think that some of these men turn to porn to feel a sense of power for the first time ever in their lives. And I think that a lot of them, and there's a lot of anger in porn too. And I think that a lot of it, does come from initially that spiritual nature of being betified in their real lives.
Absolutely. Is that the same thing for the women as well?
I think, I definitely think that when I was watching porn, I definitely felt like I was more masculine and more in a very masculine, aggressive, feminist energy, and I think that porn kind of takes people away from their true nature. So it masculinizes women and it feminizes men when they're watching it.
That totally makes sense.